Up next, Yvette Benavides, the professor of English at Our Lady of the Lake University. She's also the director of the Master of Arts, Master of Fine Arts graduate program in Literature, Creative Writing, and Social Justice. Also the assistant director with the Center for Mexican American Studies and Research, a longtime book critic for the San Antonio Express News, and a commentator on Texas Public Radio. Texas Public Radio. And her creative writing has been published in Latina Mothering. Mothering, that's right. I'm sorry. I just have not seen that. But Mothering, Texas Observer, Huizache, Bellevue Literary Review, and other publications. Please give it up for Yvette Is she around? Oh, I'm sorry, Benavides.
And this is Hector Garza. So Hector is responsible for the images that you're about to see projected on the screen. Hector was my student many years ago, graduated from Our Lady of the Lake, and went on to get his master's degree in education at the University of Notre Dame. He teaches at Holy Cross, and now he's working on an MFA at SCAD. And I'm so happy that he's joining me today. This is my 25th, this is my anniversary week. 25 years teaching, 20 years at Our Lady of the Lake. I started on August 27th in 1990, and that's the, unfortunately, that was the day Stevie Ray Vaughan died. And so I think I'm gonna start marking my anniversary on August 25th with this fun event from now on. So thanks a lot for being here. And away we go. On May 6, 2008, a 4-alarm fire engulfed the aptly named Main Building on the campus of Our Lady of the Lake University. It's an edifice that at that time housed offices, classrooms, the cafeteria, and even dormitories. To say we felt devastated would be an understatement. At home that evening, I watched wall-to-wall coverage on local newscasts. The fire seemed to consume the entire structure, even as valiant firefighters waged a watery war. Watching the intractable flames lapping at the 123-year-old building made me lose all hope that I would ever enter this beloved hallowed place of learning again. No one was hurt, but the damage in Maine seemed incalculable. Inside the building, fans connected to ducts whirred in dark stillness. Glass from broken picture and diploma frames crunched underfoot. Books and papers formed mountains of wet pulp. Furniture pushed into corners made each once homey little office resemble a hoarder's attempted purge. This city rallied, from the corporate giants you might expect to the kids in the neighborhood elementary schools and everyone in between. Sandra Cisneros called and asked, "What can I do?" and offered the answer herself. She would be the university's first writer in residence for no fee. Now, most folks in my position, English profs in academia, would sell their front teeth for such a prospect. I knew that news would polarize the fans and the haters. Back in 2002, when I was to interview her about her novel Caramelo, friends murmured in low tones things like, "I sure hope you get her on a good day." They called her diva and described her as temperamental. I didn't know what to make of such assessments, but pretty soon I'd make my own. She arrived at the studios of Texas Public Radio in a turquoise-hued yoga outfit. But where was the entourage, the harried personal assistant? In the awkward silence, I asked, "Have you ever listened to Texas Matters before?" "I'm too busy to listen to the radio," she replied, and I admired her candor. The haters were wrong. Now, I'm not name-checking, and I'm certainly not going to claim that she and I are BFFs, but what I do want to assert unequivocally is that she blazed trails for minority writers, and she is still creating worlds that validate the experiences of so many who feel alienated and marginalized. In 1984, The House on Mango Street was published. It's a coming-of-age novel told from the point of view of Esperanza, a young girl growing up in a Latino neighborhood in Chicago. 30 years, 6 million copies, and translations to several languages later, the book resonates with readers and students in classrooms everywhere, from inner-city grade schools to universities. In 1984, I was 17 years old and majoring in English at the University of Texas at Austin. There, as in high school, I was reading assigned canonical works. But for pleasure, I tended to choose titles by Saul Bellow and Isaac Bashevis Singer. Remember a friend asking me, "Do you have a thing for old Jewish guys?" Why Bellow? My family and I visited Port Aransas every summer. Souvenir City featured the tchotchke you'd expect: t-shirts, flip-flops, cedarwood keepsake boxes, and damn seagull caps, and used books. My folks said no to one more shark's tooth necklace, but yes to books. So every summer, I got a new Bellow book to read on the beach. The themes in Bellow's novels are varied, and his characters grapple with a sense of isolation, alienation, and otherness. So at 13, 14 years old, I might not have known that explicitly, but I can think back now about the ways in which these books that were not assigned reading, books I was reading for pleasure, appealed to me for those very things I didn't know I was missing in Cisneros' work. I grew up on the border in Laredo, Texas. I'm bilingual. It's a blessing that's for me is as natural as breathing. I'm bicultural and live a sometimes paradoxical duality. Not quite Mexican or American enough. A real version of the sanitized stereotype depictions you might be familiar with on ABC sitcoms. Not that there were many Mexican Americans in the media. As kids, we turned the radio up loud when Wooly Bully came on because we wanted to hear the Spanish. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Charo was from Spain, Jose Feliciano from Puerto Rico, but if they were guests on The Tonight Show, my dad would let us watch, even on a school night. We just marveled that Spanish was being spoken on NBC. And it was a Cuban man who changed my life. Dr. Antonio Rigual, Olu Spanish professor, administrator, and visionary, founded our Mexican American Studies program and the Center for Mexican American Studies and Research. In 2000, I started teaching Mexican American literature and have done so every semester for the last 15 years. Happy quinceañera to me. And we read about quinceañeras in these books by Mexican American authors. As with all good literature, the resonances are universally appreciated. I have students from diverse racial and ethnic backgrounds who analyze stories and novels and explicate poems and cultivate their empathy and sympathy. One student, an African American single mother of 4, ran up to me on the second day of class and said, "I read a book. This is the first book I've ever read from cover to cover. I love it." And she kissed it. The book was How to Be a Chicana Role Model by Michelle Cerros. These awakenings happen every semester. I have Mexican American students who had never self-identified as such and never even knew that there were stories set in Ed Couch or Brownsville or San Antonio with characters named Esperanza or Alicia. Mexican American characters who want to go to college or become writers. My students see themselves in those stories and the authors. My daughter is 17, the exact age I was when The House on Mango Street was first published. Sandra once told me that my daughter reminds her of herself at that age. I peer into Christiana's face to see what Sandra sees, and I see a future of more scholars of Mexican American literature. Now, I promised myself and a few other people that I would not get up here and lecture at you about literary theory, and I certainly wouldn't hold forth about efforts of a few in Arizona and elsewhere who would want to banish ethnic studies and people from the face of the USA. But I'll end with this. Mexican Americans are a twice-conquered people. Too often we've been relegated to undefined spaces with nebulous borders. At my university, the space is open and welcoming. It is home, a house. As Sandra Cisneros wrote, quote, "With my books and my stories, a space for myself to go clean as paper before the poem." Thanks.
Great. That's great. I love the art. Okay, step up here, both of you.
That was great. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Penn and Teller here. We have Hector. Just a couple of quick questions. Now, Donald Trump on the wall. Just if I throw out an idea, something easy to start with. Okay. All right.
Not going to dignify.
Move on. How much has Our Lady of the Lake grown since that fire? Not only has it really come back, it seems like interest in it. There's been a lot of
we have new
energy.
revitalized programs. We have our new program, our MA, MFA. Lots of revitalized programs. Our graduate enrollment is really on the rise right now.
have they moved through, and this is one of those awkward questions I just like to go ahead and ask out loud. There was some controversy over which courses and which majors should be continuing and all that. How is that shaken out?
They're all back.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure. Also, now when you grow up, you talk about, there are little young women out there. Did you want to be a writer?
Yes.
Do you want to be, or how much time do you get to write as a
Every day.
professor? Really?
Yes.
Because there are people
Comments
out
on papers.
there are people out here that may have their day jobs and then they want to be a writer or an artist, and how do you find that time? Do you have
It's
just this
not
guy
easy.
here who does all that for you?
No, it isn't. It's not easy, and I'll be honest with you, because my daughter's sitting over there, and I don't want to lie in front of her. I get home late. I'm really tired, and I don't always schedule the time to write, but I do. Yeah, once in a while. Yeah.
And where can we see maybe some of your most recent? I read this list badly of some of the places that you're in. Do you have something out right now that you'd like people to read? Oh, come on, say it. Now's your chance.
Here, no,
Not specifically. Okay.
not
Well,
since in the
we can
last
look that
few
up.
months.
And now, Hector,
Yeah.
where do you
Come on,
where do you do
Hector.
your art?
Well, I teach art at Holy Cross Fine Arts, and Professor Benavides invited me to be a part of this, and I was honored first. And so I said, well, I would love to do it, and she gave me the script, and I just put it together, so
It worked very well.
thank you.
Give it up. Thank you very much for Hector and Yvette Benavides. Thank you very much. Yvette Benavides.